Hi, we continue with our discussions about internal auditing of ISO 9001. We are still in common findings and observations by the auditors. So far, we have covered three aspects. First is about the documentations and records. Second is about non-compliance of the processes. And then third is the training and competency. Next, we look into the management system weaknesses. Since ISO 9001 is about quality management system, so this can be a critical criteria there. However, it is also quite challenging for the auditor to gauge whether the management system is really a weakness. Sometimes it may be due to without direct measurements tools, which we can only conclude that from several indicators. And because we need the evidence, when those indicators are used to reflect that, it may lead to an impression that auditors always look for something minor to make assumptions or jump to conclusions that the management system is poor. Therefore, while addressing this, as the auditor, you need to be quite careful, especially when you talk about the management system. I guess it deals more with the head of departments or middle-range supervisors. On that basis, it is easier for them to understand what the auditors are actually doing. First, the quality objective must be clearly stated. These are established as the goals and the purposes in order to ensure consistent qualities of the products and the services. Now, the stated quality objective needs to be relevant, measurable, they should be monitored, and they should be well communicated to the members of the departments. Remember that when we talk about the training and competency, sometimes the staff are being asked about the quality objectives. So if your staff is not aware of the quality objectives, that means they are not well communicated. And then you need to provide the quality objective. Normally, auditors will look through and review the objectives to see whether they are relevant and measurable. You need to also provide evidence to monitor whether the quality objectives are being achieved. To make it easier to understand, here are some examples of the quality objective. For example, if you are dealing with the production, you want to reduce the defect rate from 3% to 1.5% over the next 12 months. So that 3% and 1.5% is something that measurable. It also specifies the durations. The cutting off date, it will be after 12 months. That means at the end of that 12 months, you will have to monitor and you measure whether it fulfills the target of 1.5%. Now, would it be a problem that if the quality objective is not achieved? As far as the auditors is concerned, you should have quality objective. It should be measurable, traceable, and monitored. Not being able to fulfill the quality objective will not affect you from getting your ISO 9001 as long as you have that system in place. What we are talking about is not just the presence of the statement for the quality objective. We are looking into the presence of the system, and that system is technically working, meaning that you should have the quality objective and there should be efforts towards achieving the quality objectives. The outcome, whether the objectives are fulfilled or not, that is sometimes beyond our control. When it is fulfilled, that's good. When it is not fulfilled, it will not affect the certifications of ISO 9001. However, there should be subsequent actions. You might need to relook into your quality objective, evaluate the targets, whether they are feasible and realistic. Analyze the cause, why are they not fulfilled, and then take corrective or preventive actions. Find ways to achieve the quality objective in future. So what we are talking about is not just paperwork. The issue is not the presence of the quality objective statement. It is in fact the implementations of this system, efforts to achieve the quality objectives. Very often, the concept of quality objective is being misunderstood. In their perceptions, as long as they have the quality objective and being able to disclose to the auditor, that should be fine. This is totally understandable because normally during the auditing section, auditor will request for the quality objectives. In fact, having the quality objective is the first step for the auditor to verify whether the system is in place. If the auditee cannot disclose the quality objective, that means it is almost guaranteed that the system is not in place. Or maybe the system is in place, but with very low awareness and not being properly implemented. Now, in the case that the quality objective can be disclosed by the auditees, there's still no guarantee that the system is in place. Or to be more precise, there's no guarantee that the system is properly implemented. The quality objective may end up to be theoretical statements without proper monitoring and follow-up. That's why normally auditors will ask for the quality objective and then will interview the staff to see if they are aware of the quality objective. One step further, they might want to know how the staff achieve those quality objectives. And then they want to see the evaluations done by the department to see whether the quality objectives are fulfilled or not. If it is not fulfilled, then the auditor would like to see the subsequent actions. Only then the auditor can fully verify if the quality objective is properly implemented.